Erotic spanking isn't just smacking an ass. There's actually a handful of very different spanking types that you can utilize in your Dom-Sub relationship to maximize that power gap and enhance your kinky play. So stay tuned because in this video, we're taking a deep dive into these 7 spanking types in BDSM with specific tips for both giver and receiver. The art of erotic spanking isn't just about physical technique, because the type of spanking you choose can make or break your fantasy impact play scene. In other words, the goal of your spanking scene and the tone in which it is delivered must be in alignment to achieve that deep level of ecstasy you and your partner crave. Because although we're starting our discussion with punishment spanking, the most common reference to kinky spanking, this isn't your only option, and you don't need to rely on disobedience to maximize that Dom-Sub power gap. But we'll get to that more in a minute. But it's important that I state for the record, no play, especially any form of impact, should take place without negotiation, where the dominant walks away with complete clarity on the submissive's hard and soft limits, fully aware of the consensual playground they are able to enjoy without worry of crossing a line. In fact, this is often the pain point for many of the dominants I work with, where they feel unsure about how intense or aggressive they can be and how much space they can take up. Without this knowledge, operating in that settled, powerful, dominant energy can be practically impossible. But my new Spanking Mastery Bundle has everything you need to establish this fence line and craft mind-blowing spanking scenes with tools to help you negotiate across simple key points, plus even more resources to set you up for spanking success. Just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica and download this new bundle today. More often than not, the default paradigm when considering a spanking scene or any sort of impact play within a sexual context, punishment is involved. And although we're starting with a punishment spanking, there are a number of alternative spanking options available to you, which we will dive into fully today. But to start us out, punishment spanking is used as means of addressing disobedience, reinforcing boundaries, and retraining negative behaviors within the dynamic. As such, the receiver needs to be totally clear on why they are being punished. So communicate this before and or during the punishment in firm tones, but without yelling or acting out of uncontrolled anger. Use this punishment spanking to restate boundaries and expectations and obtain a recommitment to obedience going forward. For the receiver, it's important to acknowledge your infraction with humility. Use this time to cry, ask forgiveness, show your remorse, and recommit yourself to your submission and your dynamic. In contrast, erotic spanking is often used as a means of foreplay to lead partners into a sexually charged scene. As such, we don't want to jump into anything cold, and we certainly don't want that to be our energy or tone either. So start by rubbing your palms across the receiver's skin as a warm-up, speaking sultry lines and whispered promises before and during swats. The goal here is to find the sweet spot in pressure between mood-killing intensity and frustrating softness, while maximizing the erotic and emotional connection between partners. This isn't about performance, but pleasure. So if you are receiving an erotic spanking, especially over the knee, give yourself permission to moan, arch your back to make your booty more prominent, grind against the giver's lap, and even open your legs or otherwise showcase your excitement and arousal. These are also great ways to subtly encourage the giver without using any words. A super fun option to enhance your play is with a roleplay spanking, which, more often than not, turns into an erotic or sexual experience. Here, the goal is to connect with your partner in a safe space where you can explore different facets of yourselves and your sexual desires. So be sure to tailor the elements of your spanking to the theme of the roleplay. So if you're doing a DDLG scene, an over-the-knee spanking with your palm between tender touches is fantastic. But if you're the professor to a naughty student, having the receiver bend over a desk while you use a ruler as your implement fits perfectly. As the receiver, you want to respond to the spanking in character, such as sweet little whimpers and baby talk for a DDLG scene versus more themed lines and responses around class, curriculum, and grades for a teacher-student role play. Cathartic spankings are used as a means of mental and emotional release and can easily become an erotic spanking or lead into sexual play once this release is obtained. So, as the giver, you want to establish a nuanced blend of calm, comforting, and assertive energy where the receiver feels safe enough to let go emotionally and is verbally encouraged to cry, talk, scream, and express their feelings fully. This is where you, as the receiver, should feel free to kick, yell, cry, scream, talk, and otherwise express your emotions without fear of judgment. And in my new Spanking Mastery bundle, I'll walk you through a cathartic spanking scene step by step with my Catharsis Masterclass. And you can listen to my new 7 Shades of Spanking audio for a sultry femdom ASMR experience. Just follow the link in this video's description. In stark contrast is a sadistic spanking, which seeks sadomasochistic fulfillment by inflicting desired and consensual pain that can be regulated and revoked. Sadistic spankings often have a number of factors that define it: the use of painful implements, physically restricting the receiver due to the intensity of pain, the use of other locations than the butt, and the presence of post-play marks, bruises, or other minor injuries that can require days to fully heal. Now, due to the intense nature of this spanking type, do not use implements or strike in locations unless you are 100% confident you can do so without causing harm. And as always, but most definitely with this spanking type, it's the giver's responsibility to set limits and establish a safe word system prior to the scene, so both top and bottom players can fully let go and sink into their prospective experiences. Now, I would also issue a warning that if in the back of your mind, you as the receiver are still holding insecurity, fear, or genuine anxiety about the top skills in administering a sadistic spanking, or their ability to be present and hold space for the intense emotions that may arise, probably not for you. Opt for an erotic or cathartic spanking instead. Performance spanking is for those seasoned exhibitionists and their partners who find deep pleasure and connection by demonstrating a scripted and choreographed performance designed for public play and voyeurism in kink spaces. The connection between partners is often created through the extensive scripting and rehearsal time, like an inside joke or private moment of kink in the middle of a public space. The focus is on providing a skilled demonstration for a receptive audience and showing the possibilities of mindful and skilled play. Finally, we arrive at maintenance spankings, which is a method of maintaining focus on the DS dynamic through systematic, predictable spanking scenes. Now, I personally have a lot of caution about advising this type of spanking because I've seen it used as a crutch that fosters disconnection instead of a method of maximizing the erotic power gap. But this is so organic to each couple, and maintenance spankings may be exactly what your dynamic needs. So go over to Patreon now and download my new Spanking Mastery bundle to access my new maintenance spanking quiz for couples to determine if this type of spanking is right for your dynamic. And be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on because next week I'm walking you through 7 secrets you need to know about maintenance spankings before trying this system out for yourself.